When someone casually asks you, wait, you've been working this long, where does all your money go? You laugh it off. You change the subject. You make a joke so the moment passes. But inside, that question lands like a stone. You've been waking up early. You show up. You budget. You skip things. You do what responsible people do. And still, every month feels like survival. Bills pile up. Emergencies turn tiny problems into disasters. The mortgage feels heavy. The savings look the same. And at 2 a.m., you sometimes whisper to yourself, how am I working this hard? And still one emergency away from everything collapsing. There's a name for what's happening. It's not shameful. It's not moral. It's mathematical. It's the uncomfortable, brutal truth called the math of being broke. The poverty premium, the buy twice rule, the hidden fees that quietly extract your life savings. Let me show you how this works. Not as theory, but as everyday facts you already live. You buy a pair of shoes for $25 because that's what your wallet allows. They fall apart in 9 months. You buy another pair. A year later, you've spent $75. Meanwhile, someone who paid $120 once has dry feet for years. The cheap guy paid more. That's the boots problem in a sentence. Sometimes being cheap is the most expensive decision. Now look at groceries. Bulk is cheaper per unit, but bulk needs money and storage. If you have $4 today, you can buy one pack at a corner store at a 200 to 300% premium per roll. If you have $50, you buy in bulk, and the cost per roll drops massively. The math says your effective inflation rate is higher because you can't access economies of scale. Now banking, you've seen this. One forgotten subscription, one overdraft. You borrowed $5 for a day, and the bank charges you $35. That's not a mistake. That's policy. Banks collect billions every year from people living close to zero. The rich get interest on savings. The poor pay interest on necessity. Transportation. You can't afford reliable used cars, so you take that buy here, pay here loan at 24% interest. You pay twice what the car is worth, or you rely on rides and last-minute taxis when your car dies. Small costs that compound into a massive leak. Housing. You need a down payment to escape rent. Rent eats your ability to save. So you rent longer, paying what your neighbor would pay in mortgage plus handing equity to someone else every month. Time is taxed too. Laundromat trips cost quarters and hours. Food deserts cost extra bus rides and time. Time you could use to earn, rest, or study is drained by the friction of being broke. And time is a non-renewable resource. All of these are pieces of the same puzzle. Being short of cash forces decisions that are rational in the moment, but expensive across years. That's the math of being broke. The system doesn't need to lock you in with chains. It locks you in with scarcity, defaults, and design choices that favor liquidity and scale. Now I'm going to do something practical here. I'm going to give you 3 moves, not miracles. 3 specific structural shifts you can make that reduce the poverty premium and start to flip the math in your favor. But first, I'm going to prove the pain so you keep listening. Ask yourself this. For the last 3 months, how many times did scarcity force a purchase you would not have made if you had $500 in the bank? A payday loan? A last-minute repair? Convenience fee? Think about that number. Hold it. Most people are shocked when they total it. Here's the first move. Build a tiny buffer. $1,000 that is not for luxuries. Call it your emergency armor. I know that sounds small and ridiculous when rent is due, but the first $1,000 changes everything. It flips decisions from urgent to strategic. That $1,000 buys you time to get a repair done cheaply, to avoid predatory credit, to shop bulk deals, and to say no to the high-cost quick fix. If you can't get $1,000 immediately, start with $100 and keep compounding. Tiny buffers break the cycle of emergency borrowing. Exercise. Right now, 2 minutes, open your Notes app. Write down 3 places you spent more because you didn't have cash on hand in the last 90 days. Be honest. This audit is the only lever you need to start. Second move, audit the poverty premiums. This is a 1-month experiment. For the next 4 weeks, log every time you pay more because you couldn't buy in bulk, because you chose convenience, because you had to repair instead of prevent. At week's end, add them up. You'll be shocked how often small costs equal hundreds. Once you see the leak, you can patch it. Practical hacks you can use immediately to reduce premiums. Find one bulk item you use every week and split the cost with a neighbor or friend. A Costco run doesn't have to be solo. Pooling cuts per unit cost dramatically. Negotiate or switch banks for fewer fees. Many banks waive fees for small direct deposit or for low balance customers. Call your bank and ask for overdraft protection or lower fees. They will often offer something if you simply ask. Turn subscriptions into quarterly payments or cancel unused ones. Those $8 to $12 subscriptions quietly drain hundreds yearly. Create tiny sinking funds, a dedicated jar/transfer for car repairs, for seasonal bills, for insurance. Even $20 per week prevents the emergency borrowing spiral. Third move, stop thinking of saving as deprivation. Reframe saving as power. When you see saving as a way to buy cheaper options, you change your default. Saving a little gives you choices: bulk, quality, a better loan, time to negotiate. When a choice becomes about power instead of punishment, your behavior changes. But I'm not going to pretend these moves are easy. Scarcity changes your brain. When you're stressed about tomorrow's bills, your mental bandwidth shrinks. You make short-term decisions, like we said: payday loans, impulse buys, late payments. That's not weakness, that's scarcity. So let's get tactical with the three most common high-cost traps and exact scripts you can use to escape them. Trap 1. High-interest consumer finance. Payday loans, buy now, pay later, 0% teaser offers that end up expensive. If you're offered financing, ask calmly, what is the exact total cost if I take this over the full term? Ask for the APR. If the repayment more than doubles the purchase price, walk away. If you need it now, ask, can I delay this purchase by X weeks while I save Y dollars? Or find a no-fee credit union or community lender. Their costs are exponentially lower. Trap 2. Overdrafts and banking fees. Call your bank now and ask for an overdraft block or a link to a no-fee checking account. Many banks will enroll you in low-fee accounts or tools that notify you before low balance. If your bank won't help, move to a bank or credit union that treats low-balance customers fairly. This is not shameful, it's financial triage. Trap 3. Replacing cheap things repeatedly. The rule here is, buy the best quality you can reasonably afford for items you use every day. If you can't afford the best, consider used quality, thrift stores, estate sales. You can often buy the $120 shoe used for $40 and it will last. Treat purchases like total cost of ownership, not monthly payment. Let's pause and open a loop here. I promised you 3 structural shifts. We've covered buffers, audits, and reframing saving as buying power. But there's a final piece that ties it together: social economics. The microsystems of sharing and community that reduce cost. If you stay until the end, I'll show you the simple neighborhood strategy that cuts annual grocery and appliance costs dramatically. Loop opened. You'll want to stick around. Back to the math. Many people think, if I just made more, I'd be fine. That's true to a point. My income helps. But income without structure just means higher payments. The same dollars that become a lifeline can become a treadmill if the new income is absorbed by higher fixed costs. That's the pattern of lifestyle expansion. Here's how to stop the treadmill. Start by automating your buffer. The human brain is poor at consistency. Set a tiny automatic transfer the day after payday, $10, $25, out of sight into a separate savings account. Treat it like a tax you must pay yourself. Over time, compounding works. If your employer offers direct deposit splits, use it. Funnel the buffer automatically. Second, renegotiate recurring costs. Many bills are negotiable. Call your phone provider. Ask to match competitor deals. Call your insurance company and ask about bundling. Ask your utility about hardship or budget programs. You'll be surprised how often companies give lower rates when asked, especially if you're ready to switch. Third, stop the fix-it-with-debt reflex. A broken washing machine is a repair, not a debt event. If you don't have the $200, see if a local repair shop offers a sliding scale or a bill-splitting option. Ask community groups. Use local Facebook groups or community centers. Many have repair co-ops or low-cost services. The cheapest solution is rarely the fastest credit solution. Another essential truth: the mental math matters. When you see your spending as a flowchart, where money leaks, where it pools, you can change the flow. Visualize your money for 1 month. Draw 3 columns: survival, maintenance, optional. Survival is rent, utilities, groceries. Maintenance is replacing a broken item, car repair, planet. Optional is streaming, upgrades. When you force categories, you'll notice how much optional leaks into survival. Cut one optional item and redirect it to a sinking fund this month. Small shifts compound into big changes. Now, let me give you a little experiment you can do in 7 days that actually changes decisions. The one leak strike. Pick the single biggest poverty premium you face. The one expense that costs you most because you don't have the buffer. Maybe it's taxi fares. Maybe it's phone fees. Maybe it's buying single rolls of toilet paper. For 7 days, act like that leak is tax deductible. Every dollar you would have spent to plug it, you save instead. No spending on anything that would feed that leak. At the end of 7 days, add what you saved and move it to an emergency bucket. It's small, but it builds systems of discipline and, importantly, evidence. You'll see that you can create a little buffer when you choose to. I promised the neighborhood strategy. Here it is. A simple idea that reduces multiple premiums at once. Neighbor bulk. Find 2 or 3 neighbors or family members who use the same staples as you. Liters of oil, rice, detergent, toilet paper. Together, split a bulk case from a wholesale store and divide it. You get bulk prices without bulk storage burden. Also, rotate tools. Don't buy a pressure washer you'll use once a year. Share it with your block and schedule. Community sharing reduces replacement and purchase frequency, and it rebuilds social capital, which is as useful as money when emergencies hit. One last pattern before we close. The psychological pivot that makes these steps stick. People who escape the poverty premium don't do more extreme things. They reframe daily choices. They replace short-term relief with long-term power. They don't stop enjoying life. They reassign a small portion of their wants into future wants. That small reassigning is painful at first, but liberating later. It's the difference between being reactionary and being strategic. So, what should you do after watching this? First, do the 2-minute audit I gave you earlier. Write 3 places scarcity forced expensive decisions. Put the list somewhere visible. Start a 7-day one leak strike. Pick your one leak. Block all purchases that feed it. Save every dollar you avoided. Move it to a separate, no-drama account. Pick one practical hack from the list today. Call your bank about overdraft protection, or call your largest recurring service and ask for a lower price. Take one small action right now. That single call often saves more than a day of scolding yourself for eating out. Finally, share this video with one person you know who needs to see the math. The best part about fixing the math, it's contagious. When one household reduces poverty premiums, it frees up social and emotional energy for everyone around them. Remember this, you're not bad with money because you make short-term choices under pressure. You are in a system that makes those choices costly. The power comes when you see the math, remove shame, and start making structural changes that reduce urgency. That first $100 transferred automatically, that tiny buffer, is more radical than a viral savings hack because it changes the entire decision architecture of your life. If this landed for you, do the audit now. 2 minutes, 3 items. That's your beginning. Then come back and watch this again to catch the details you missed the first time. If you want, I'll make a simple worksheet you can download that walks you step by step through the one leak strike and the neighbor bulk setup. Tell me in the comments and I'll put it together. You've been doing a lot right. The fix starts with seeing the math. Once you see it, you can start changing it. One small buffer, one patched leak, one neighbor bulk, one practical call. Do that, and over time, the math will stop taking from you and start giving back.